Good evening, everybody. The technical issues continue, but I think we're okay now. Matt, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you can, but now the speakers are way over there. All right, I'll get that figured out somehow or another. Let's see. This is the Michigan Team Rivalry Show brought to you by Rise Window and Door. More on that later. Who is in the chat? Let's Toast Media is out there in the chat. It says Justin for Heisman.
Justin or
Justice Hayes?
Justice Haynes, maybe?
Yeah. National Championship 2026. Good to have you out there. Let's Toast Media. Glad to have you here. We do have a poll going on, and that poll is which Big Ten team will most likely cover the spread and uncover your emotional baggage. You've got 4 choices: Penn State, Nebraska, Ohio State, and Michigan. I'll let you guys read the rest of the options there. Meanwhile, Mac, I have a question for you.
Okay. All right.
If Penn State loses another Big Ten matchup, do they get a free therapy session or just a commemorative shirt that says almost?
Free therapy session. Never heard of it.
All right, let's get moving.
Good job by J.J. McCarthy. Take the handoff. Now McManus is going to throw a pick. They give it to Corum. Up back. Corum. Touchdown, Wolverine. Ruben Wilson does it again. Oh, finds some daylight. He's got some speed and some blocker. Outside. Turns the corner. Blake Corum down the sideline. Looking over the middle. Caught. Touchdown, Wolverine. McCarthy extends the play, now using legs. McCarthy a first down.
Ooh, all right. Oh, what you drinking?
I don't know.
You don't know?
It's tea of some kind, but I can't remember what it's called.
I still got to figure out this stuff. Good evening, everybody. Again, remember out there, memberships help us out. We appreciate all you guys being here. We appreciate everything that everybody is doing. Oh, we got, let's see, Blue Wolverine is out there.
B-dub.
Wolverine. Let's Toast Media says Michigan 43-13 over Wisconsin. I like that. We're going to get into that in a little bit. We're also going to talk about a little bit of talk about Penn State. Are they still a contender for a natty? What's going on over there? We're going to talk Pigskin Showdown. We've got previews coming for you for Michigan State at Nebraska because we thought, why not? Minnesota at number 1, Ohio State, and Wisconsin at number 20, Michigan, and your chats all tonight. Meanwhile, the poll over there, we have had some answers in the poll. We've got 6 votes so far. 6 rock and roll over votes with Michigan style not included, taking the lead there.
That's funny.
It's a strange one. It's an interesting evening tonight. Like I said, I've got always technical issues. Technical issues should be my middle name. Mac, how are you doing?
I mean, I'm good. Okay, so here's the thing. You think you've got issues. Right. Let me tell you what an issue is. You go into the doctor's office to have an ultrasound, right? Okay, right. So it's just a regular ultrasound because, I'm having a kid. And, she's having the kid. The wife's having the kid. I have to take care of the person having the kid, right? So you go in, you have your ultrasound, and the technician says, oh, there's a baby. Okay, and then she kind of smirks. Oh, there's a second baby. And then she kind of smirks again, and she says, there's a third baby. You think you have issues? I'm having triplets.
All right, fine.
You don't have nothing.
Nothing. No, I just fixed my speaker issue so I can now hear out of the headphones again. So I'm all set. Meanwhile, you got 3 babies coming.
Yeah.
3 of them.
All right.
Congratulations, by the way. I know I've said that to you in person, but just so everybody on the show understands that I have said that. Blue Wolverine says, no way. As he should.
Yeah, it's not an issue. Honey, it's not actually an issue. It's a joke, but also, we're never going to sleep again.
Tell you what, let's do our ad read and then we'll bring the guys on because one of them has to leave early.
Yeah.
All right.
Jerk.
Give it a go.
This episode of Team Rivalry is powered by Rise Window and Door, serving Jackson, Ann Arbor, and Lansing. Rise delivers expert craftsmanship, not just in windows, doors, or custom trim, but across the home improvement spectrum. Locally owned and operated, they bring big precision with small town care. There's no cookie cutter solutions, no shortcuts. Whether it's upgrading your exterior or transforming your interior, Rise handles every detail with the care and precision you want for your home. Maybe they can build us an extra bedroom for these triplets. Call 810-673-7473 or head to risewindowdoor.com to schedule your free consultation today and let Rise help you realize the vision you have for your home. They're a supporter of the show, so if you're looking to have any home improvement work done whatsoever, they're going to do the best job you could ask for, and you'll be supporting the channel while doing so.
Excellent. Rise Window and Door. They do great work. Definitely worth the hire. If you got stuff going on at home that you need fixed or built or rebuilt, all that stuff.
All of it.
All of it. All right, let's bring on the guys. Let's get this show rolling. First, from our old friends from Buckeyes Battlecry, we have Peter and we have Rob. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. Do good. Congrats, Mac. Congrats,
Thank you very much.
Man.
At first, I'm like, where's he going with this? I'm like, oh my gosh, he's about to have 3 kids, man. I'm like, oh,
I am.
boy.
Yeah. It's, yeah.
A blessing and slightly daunting, I'm sure.
And our other friend from out west, our Oregon fan, Mr. Ben Schellen, quacking off.
I actually live in Houston now, but
I know, but you're an Oregon fan, so you're our friend out west.
And Matt, congratulations. You better pick up that extra Uber shift in the evenings.
two extra Uber shifts.
2 extra Uber shifts, and I start my OnlyFans tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that.
Stick with the Uber.
What's up, Corey?
After all this time, it's finally come to fruition.
Yep.
Let's see some more comments here. Time to man up, says Corey, with the 3 kids coming. Wolverine Gage there says, go blue.
Go blue.
Wait a minute. Wolverine says, you better be extra good to UL. You have a lot of work to do now.
I think I've been good. Have I been good to you, honey? I try my best.
Is this how you guys communicate in the house?
Yeah,
they do. Yeah, they're a texting family.
She texts me and I just talk to her over this thing.
This live stream.
We only talk on Wednesday nights, provided she's in the chat. I don't know how we got pregnant in the first place, honestly.
Skip that
you
class.
see,
So Penn State is out there. No, guys, actually, so the first thing I wanted to talk about tonight after all that was Penn State. We saw Penn State lose to Oregon last week
again
in the same manner that so this ties into it because Ohio State last year also lost to Oregon around the same time. We all kind of thought, or maybe not all of us, but it was expected that this was James Franklin's year. And for those of us who live near Detroit, we hear that all the time with the Lions, and it just never happens.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is our year.
There you go.
We're 3-1, man.
Especially after bringing on Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles was supposed to save Penn State's defense. Like I said, now they've lost to Oregon. They dropped in the rankings all the way down to number 7. This week they get a reprieve. They play UCLA.
Wow, wow, wow.
My question for you guys, actually, I have a series of questions, but we can just talk about Penn State in general here. After dropping from number 3 to number 7, is Penn State still a legitimate playoff contender or just a top 10 team with limitations?
Well, we're going to find out a lot about this Penn State team their next 3 games. I think they're at Iowa. They host number 8 Indiana, and then they're on the road in Columbus against Ohio State. If they lose 2 out of those 3, Happy Valley will burn to the ground. There will be nothing left. And I think it's a legit possibility that does happen and James Franklin does get fired. He's been the same coach that he's been since he's gotten there. He rode off the coattails of Saquon Barkley till he couldn't ride anymore. You can't look back at that 2016 Big Ten title. I don't care that made the playoffs last season and went to the semifinal, because look what happened when they actually played someone who is respectable. And then just the coaching decisions, just the dude who's steering the ship, and they blew it against Ohio State in 2017, where it was up like what 2.5 scores in the middle of the third quarter, and then 2018 ran on 4th and 4 Chase Young's way, and then then the losses to Michigan, then the annual losses to Ohio State. He's 4-21 against top 10 teams, and it's just he hasn't changed a thing. And the most Penn State thing that could have happened over in the offseason happened. The defense was never the problem. The offense is the problem. They can play defense like the best anybody in the country, but when it comes to scoring more points and actually doing something, it's just never there. So they cool, you got Jim Knowles, but you still lost the game because you could have dialed up the right plays, and Drew Aller's not a first round pick. So, but I've said enough, man. James Franklin, he's a fraud, and I think there's a good chance that they lose 2 out of those 3 games that I named, and James Franklin is fired, because I saw this meme. I saw this quote. James Franklin is the guy who's building it for the next person who could take it a step further.
Well, actually, let me throw this out there, Peter. This one will go to you. Building off what Rob just said, is James Franklin, if he's building this program, is he building it for November football, or is it just falling short in elite competition? And like with what Rob said, is he just building it for the next guy?
It's an interesting one to answer, man. It's something that Rob and I discussed a little bit this week as well. It's tough to say, because people kept leading into this matchup. People kept saying, when is he going to get over the hump? When is he going to win the big one? He has to win it now, right? It's everything set up for them to win it. No, he doesn't have to win it, and he proved he cannot win that game. And there's a realistic possibility that they miss the playoffs. Personally, I think they go 10-2 because they've been pretty consistent in that. But the thing is, when you make a coaching decision to move on, and you have decided inside the athletic department, this guy cannot get over that hump, you are taking a risk, much like Nebraska 20 years ago when they had Frank Solich, and they were winning a lot of games, but not enough games, and not important enough games. There's a chance. I mean, let's think about this, man. Penn State has had 2 successful coaches in their entire history. They were a nothing program before Joe Pa. They were pretty, rough even in the 2000s with Joe Pa. And James Franklin has re-elevated them to a national status, but not a nationally contending status. And if they decide to make the decision to let him go, there's a lot of risk involved. They could absolutely fall back and fall flat on their faces. I think it's a risk you need to take at some point, because that's what life is about. Betting on yourself and believing you can get over the hump. And we all know that James Franklin can't do it. So I'm starting to be on the train that he probably does need to go if they miss the playoffs. Now, if you make the playoffs again at 10-2, there is absolutely no justifiable reason to fire the man, in my opinion. But we'll see.
We'll see. Ben, I got a question for you then. Since Penn State, they already played Oregon. They lost Oregon last week, like we said. They're coming up so next week or this week, they've got UCLA and Northwestern. Seems like straightforward wins, but then you've got Iowa, Ohio State, and Indiana. With Indiana rising, Ohio State's obviously number 1. Should Penn State be worried about losing ground to if they're going to, what's the likelihood that they get through Ohio State and Indiana unscathed? And then are they losing ground to other emerging Big Ten teams?
Well, I mean, they're going to dog walk UCLA. UCLA is, I mean, it's in a dumpster. It's already on fire. You know, they're still trying to put it out, and they're just going to come piss on it just to embarrass them. Northwestern, you know, they'll be nice. Northwestern's done nothing wrong to anyone. Ohio State, that's the gauge that Penn State's going to face, because you lose like another heartbreaker, kind of like real close game to Ohio State again.
Yeah,
it's not going to be good. Already you have 2 losses, and arguably against what most people now, especially with the loss to my dog. Okay. In Dan Lanning's first overtime game as a head coach, by the way. Suck on that, James Franklin. You know, the point is it's not going to be good. That's a setback when you have 2 losses like that.
Yep.
Then you have to worry about, if you lose the Ohio State game, where's Indiana's mind? Because obviously it's a bye week for Indiana and Oregon, and then we play Indiana at home here the following weekend. So where's Indiana's mind? Because just imagine you lose to Ohio State, then you play Indiana, and you lose another close game somehow.
Mm-hmm.
It could spiral out of control very, very quickly. You know, I mean, it really could.
Yeah.
So will it? I mean, look, James Franklin is obviously a solid coach.
Yeah.
He's consistent. But like you said, can he take it over the hump finally in those games? Because every game they play, defensively has never been the problem. But now Oregon kind of showed a funny blueprint defensively, because 1, make Aller beat you, which most people would say he's not going to.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to. And 2, just run it at them if you have the O-line to do it. What did Oregon do? Did we play any trick plays, any jet sweeps during that game? Anything that we've shown this whole season? No. They just ran it right at Penn State and said, you know, beat us.
Mm-hmm.
And it got a little murky there at the very end. I'm not going to lie. I was
just for a little bit.
Just a little nervous there at the end. But, yeah, if he loses to Ohio State again, Indiana will be like, I don't want to say death nail for James Franklin, but if he was getting booed during the Oregon game, which they were publicly, just imagine that going into that Indiana game, especially if he loses that game. Ooh, I would not want to be James Franklin or Andy Kolenicki, especially.
Yeah.
Mac, let me ask you, what does Penn State need to do tactically and emotionally to climb back into number 4 or into the top 4?
Into the top 4. I mean, start scheduling those therapy appointments, I guess. I don't know, like, okay. It's one of those situations where they're not going to believe that they can do it until they actually do it. All right. Yeah. They need somebody, they need like a Rudy to come in there and be like, hey, we can do it. And then, you know, maybe sort of kind of convince them to do it. And then somehow or another they do it. And then all of a sudden, hey, we can do it. And then they do it. They're not going to do it until they actually do it. And here's the thing, even after the Oregon game, you've got people saying that, oh, Penn State can very well go into Ohio State or go into Columbus and beat Ohio State. No, I'm sorry. I don't see how that's possible. And not because I don't think that they can from a talent standpoint, but literally every time they get into a situation where they might be in a close game, they tuck tail, wet their pants, and cry.
Yeah.
It's just what they do. But the crappy thing is that Penn State's in a terrible position, because if you're wondering what happens when you fire a consistent 9-10 win 9 or 10 game winning coach, look at Nebraska. Ouch. Bo Pelini was winning 9 and 10 games a year. He was a very consistent coach. He was basically Nebraska's James Franklin, except kind of angry. But they fire him, and then they suck.
Yep.
So does Penn State really want to take those chances? I mean, especially because now Oregon's in the Big Ten, USC's in the Big Ten, UCLA sucks right now. They probably won't forever. Washington, I can't ever remember that Washington's in the Big Ten. Washington is sort of kind of on the come up, although they wet their pants against Ohio State every time they entered inside the 20. Do you really want to be Penn State's athletic director and look at all of the competition that you're facing every single year and say, yeah, we can risk a rebuilding year at this point? Not really. I mean, yeah, I think Peter's absolutely right. I think with somebody like James Franklin, if you're the athletic director, you have to sit him down and kind of have a heart-to-heart and be like, look, you're playing not to lose. You need to start playing to win. And you need to stop being stupid in the red zone. So, yeah, I guess they're not going to win against an Ohio State or an Oregon or a Michigan until they finally do. And then they'll believe that they can do it.
Going off of that idea. Well, go ahead, Peter. Go ahead.
From the athletic director's perspective, you're not going to throw away a coach who gets you that playoff money. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But if he does miss the playoffs, that's absolutely under consideration. But the thing is, like you mentioned, Mac, now his job is on the line. The AD's job is, because it's up to him to find the replacement. But the thing with Franklin, I feel like the thing he just doesn't do is he refuses to learn this lesson. Like, he loses the same ways year after year after year. Elite defense, terrible offensive lines. I mean, even Saquon Barkley's O-line was terrible. He had to make amazing plays to get even decent rushing sets at Penn State. And now look at what he's doing in the league. And so he just doesn't adapt to change. And that, I think, is the biggest argument for letting him go.
And here's the sorry, Rob.
There's one coach out there who you may have to, risk the morality of your program. He's currently on big Fox Noon. I think his name is Urban Meyer.
Dave Portnoy?
Yeah, sure. You want him on your sideline.
Wait, you mean you think Penn State should pick up Urban Meyer?
You know what, dude? Michigan State almost got Urban Meyer, but they refused to give him the keys to the program in order for him to build a national title contender. So that's one of the big reasons why he didn't. I guarantee you Penn State would give him the keys.
Michigan State's such a dumb institution.
Dude, they kind of a side tangent. They fumbled two of the best coaches in all of college football, Nick Saban and Urban Meyer.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
And then they think they've got the third best with Mark D'Antonio. He wasn't the third best. He's literally never scored a point in the playoffs. Like, I hate that guy. Literally, no single person's face pisses me off more than Mark D'Antonio. And yeah,
it's like the opposite effect that Nick Saban has for me.
Yeah, really, yeah. And a lot of it is because he beat Michigan several times, but the dude is just a total and complete asshole. All right,
you're not wrong.
Yeah. So I know Ben already said that Penn State's going to dog walk UCLA this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of the emotional level of the Penn State team, how many points and maybe this doesn't even matter, but I'm curious, how many points or how intently does Penn State need to dominate UCLA to regain some of their emotional standing?
This game is at UCLA, right?
It is.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. That's a home game. No one goes to a damn UCLA game anyways.
No.
So it doesn't really matter. 50-0 easy. Penn State just embarrasses them. Then they burn the stadium down on the way out. Rose Bowl's gone forever.
And they need to find a way to get Drew Eller's confidence back, dude, because I guarantee you that last ball through, man, that's just like walking out of there with his head down and thinking like, oh man, look, I blew it. I let my team down. And they just need to find this could be a game to get his confidence back and just let him throw the ball around and find himself again.
He's got James Franklin's job on his shoulders, and he knows it. I mean, two things. One, they came into this season knowing that James Franklin can't win. Hey, Marmar, knowing that James Franklin can't win the big game. And then also knowing that the entire national media was picking them to win the national championship. So, yeah, I mean, he's got James Franklin's job on his shoulders along with national title hype. Like, of course he's progress.
He also, when Aller decided to come back, guess who he ran off? Another quarterback that's doing pretty good.
He's doing all right, isn't he?
Absolutely balling out.
Yeah. So,
where's that quarterback at? I forgot.
Mizzou.
Oh yeah, Missouri, dude.
Undefeated Mizzou.
I always thought he was better than Drew Aller, but that's just me.
Well, we will leave this with Wolverine Gage says Penn State is overrated. I don't know. Is Penn State overrated, or is it just James Franklin is overrated? And can you make that distinction?
And
I don't think either of them are overrated. I think both of them are right. Everybody sees Penn State and James Franklin for what they are. A solid program that's just never going to be as good as Michigan and Ohio State.
Yep. Or Oregon.
Oregon. You also have to look at Jim Knowles' defense. I mean, they couldn't get off the field on third down. Oregon was 4 for 4 on fourth down, and gave up overall 424 yards. Now, when Ohio State played Oregon last season in the regular season, they gave up about 35 yards more, but still, like, it seems to me that everything that, I suspected about James Franklin not really having a hand in the turnaround of the Ohio State defense in the playoffs has come to fruition. I even said, like, this game for Jim Knowles against Oregon is the eye test to see how much of a hand he had in Ohio State's defense before the turnaround, and you can no longer say that, oh, it was Larry Johnson, or oh, it was someone else. No, this has Jim Knowles' hands all over it. Once again, he gave up the explosive plays. He couldn't get off the field on third down. We just, as Ohio State fans, and Peter, you could attest to this, we've seen it so many times, so we're not really surprised. Now, in terms of point wise, it was looking pretty good, but it's not always how you start, it's how you finish. And once again, like in a big game against an offense with an actual pulse, you just couldn't finish.
Before we move on to our first game of the week here, checking in on the poll, we've got 14 votes. Michigan is still winning. So the question is, which Big Ten team will most likely cover the spread and uncover your emotional baggage? Right now, Michigan is winning with Michigan style not included. Because as we know, Michigan has no style, and now they play. They sort of keep ramming it until they get somewhere.
Well, that's true. And unfortunately, you all are just piece of meats to me because I got to go cook steaks. But if you want, I'll give you a quick score prediction for all the games.
Yes, do that.
Who's on the road for each game?
We've got Michigan State at Nebraska, Minnesota at Ohio State, and Wisconsin at Michigan.
All the home teams 50-0. Blow them out of water. Blow them out of water.
Man. That's the analysis I come for.
50-0.
Ben, if that happens, I'll let you name one of the triplets.
What?
Remember the fine print is it has to be approved by.
Do not test me with that opportunity.
The fine print is that my wife has to approve it, but we'll let you have a shot at it.
Okay. It'll be elegant.
All right.
All right.
Ben, tell everybody where they can find you before you leave and we can't find you.
Not be Dan.
Yeah, I got to go cook steak, and then I got to do a live stream again tonight because of Oregon news today that came out. So find us on Me and Spaz on the Quacking Off channel on YouTube.
Are you talking about that running back who is currently sitting out the rest of the season?
Yes. Okay. Came out a few hours ago, but I was like, hey, I got to cook. So,
So Quacking Off?
Quacking Off on YouTube here. You'll find us over there by all means. Go over there. Check us out.
Definitely.
Appreciate it.
Like and subscribe. All the good stuff.
Next week, we'll talk about a real game in this conference.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
As Oregon hosts Indiana. It's revenge for like 91 or whatever.
It should be a good game. Yeah, for sure.
That's a real game in the Big Ten Conference because traditionally Indiana's been good and Oregon has been
Welcome to the new Big Ten, gentlemen.
A new normal.
The new Big Ten.
Man,
I hate this world.
All right.
it's crazy.
Thank you very much, Ben. Have a good weekend.
Have a great one, everyone. Enjoy
See
your
you, Ben.
weekend.
All right, guys, we are going over to Michigan State at Nebraska. Mac wanted to talk about this game. I don't know why, but he does. I think he just wants to talk crap about Michigan State. But here we are.
I do like talking crap about Michigan State.
These are two teams with high expectations, and oddly enough, in similar situations, Matt Rule and Jonathan Smith were both brought in to turn these programs around after, let's see. Oh, Scott Frost. Scott Frost was fired, and then so was Tucker for vastly different reasons. They're both having some success as they are both 3-1 right now, but how far will that success go? So, gentlemen, let's just go around the clock here. Well, actually, no, let me first give you the stats. We have, with Michigan State and Nebraska, the spread is 11.5 points in Nebraska's favor. 47.5 points is the over-under. And the FBI currently has Nebraska winning with an 86% chance. So let me take that off of there, and then we can put this here. Let's go around. Rob, we'll start with you. What is your analysis of the Michigan State and Nebraska game? What's going to happen here?
I have all the stats right here. So
Nice.
I was actually at a Michigan State game this season. I think it was against Youngstown. And their defense is just absolutely atrocious. And I'm looking at that right now. They're 91st total defense, giving up 384 yards per game. Passing yards allowed 115th. Run defense 47th. That's actually one of their, I guess, strong points. I guess the red zone defense, they've given up 17 out of 19 scores, and they're just terrible at getting to the quarterback. 101st, 6 sacks on the season. Now, I will say that their passing yards allowed is a weakness because, Nebraska's passing offense is second in the country, averaging 351.8 yards per game. So there's that. And you also have to look in terms of Michigan State's offense and Nebraska's defense. So what I've seen is, Aiden Childs doing a lot better. Their passing is pretty much the bread and butter. But passing yards allowed in terms of Nebraska, they're first, average giving up only 75.8 yards per game. So I have Nebraska winning this one. I just don't see Michigan State as an, actual contender yet. I mean, we've seen John Smith coach teams, come to fruition year 3 or 4. So I have Nebraska winning at least, I'm going to say 24-10.
24-10.
Okay.
Peter?
Actually, no. I'm doing 24-14.
24-14. All right.
Interesting.
Peter, what do you got?
I'm going to hammer home on the defense too, man. The Spartans are not the Spartan dog defense right now. They are pathetic. Giving up 30.3 points per game. That's 93rd in the country so far. And that's including an FCS team, like Rob said, Youngstown State. That's just not getting it done. Their opponents convert just under 50% of third downs. That's atrocious. That's 106th in the nation. And so MSU, they've got a lot of improvement to do. Like Rob said also, I've seen Aiden Childs improve. He doesn't seem as inconsistent as he was last year, so kudos to him. He's only got 1 pick so far in the season. Just under 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. So he is taking care of the football, unlike last season. So kudos to him, respect to him. He's definitely improved, but they just don't have a run game to support it. Nick Marsh has been hampered by injuries. And switching sides, Dylan Raiola, man, I'll be honest, I really kind of wrote him and Nebraska off after the first game of the year, the Cincinnati contest. I thought Raiola looked like the same quarterback I had seen last season. Didn't see much growth, didn't see much improvement. But my goodness, man, he, not to bash on you guys at all, but he looked really good versus Michigan. I was really impressed. I had never seen Raiola play that well in his college career so far. He's taking care of it too. 11 touchdowns to just the one interception. Doesn't have too many weapons, but I think, Nebraska pretty much takes this one fairly easy. I have it being a little higher scoring. I think both offenses are capable of putting up more points than what Rob thinks. So I've got Nebraska winning 31-20 in this contest.
31-20. Yeah, I actually thought Raiola played really well. I mean, because he played, I think a quarter and a half on a sprained ankle. I mean, he was limping around and still making plays.
That halftime score was just absolutely insane, dude. Against Michigan.
That was crazy.
I was just like, what?
Yeah.
And yet, even still, I knew Nebraska wasn't going to win just because how the first half had played out. Like, I was like, wow, big moment for them, but it's not going to make a difference.
Right. Yeah, it didn't look like it necessarily, but Michigan was controlling the line, and I think that's where that's the tell for the second half.
Yeah, Nebraska's run defense is 108th in the country, giving up 173.5 yards per game. So that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mac, what do you think? What's your analysis on this game?
Okay, so you're bringing up the Nebraska's rush defense. Whoop. Bringing up Nebraska's rush defense. So so they allow 174 yards a game. ESPN has them at 110th in the nation. Michigan State averages 154 yards rushing, and that puts them at 72nd in the nation. So 154 yards rushing a game, though, that's really not bad. Like you can win games doing that. So if Michigan State does beat Nebraska, it's because Aiden Childs is running all over the place, and their running back is running all over the place too. But point being is that they're using Aiden Childs as a dual threat quarterback, which he can be for sure. Yeah. But then you're putting the game basically on Aiden Childs needing to make a play. Aiden Childs has gotten a lot better. He is not the Aiden Childs of last season. He does still have a turnover problem though. So if he gets hit,
he's fumbling. Yeah,
he is fumbling. Yeah. So if he gets hit and he fumbles, and Michigan State finds themselves 1-2 scores down early in the game, they're done. There's nothing their defense can do to come back from that, because Raiola, you better believe, Nebraska thought for sure that they were going to win the game against Michigan. Maybe not after halftime, although the fans thought that they could win after halftime. Sure. But maybe once they hit halftime and they realized Michigan's trench play was just outclassing them in every way. I mean, it really was just a matter of time until Michigan pulled away, and they still almost won. So they're pissed. I mean, they were going to get up for the Michigan game, and they feel like they probably should have won that game had they had anything better to say on the offensive line. They will against Michigan State. I firmly believe that Dylan Raiola and this Nebraska offense will move the ball against Michigan State. They may not run the ball, but they don't need to. Dylan Raiola is balling, man. He's throwing the ball all over the place. He is averaging 352 yards passing per game. They are the number 2 overall passing offense in the game. Michigan State's defense, however, is 117th in defending the pass. They're done. This game's over. I'm taking Michigan State 35-10. Nebraska. I'm taking Nebraska.
You're talking all doom and gloom about Michigan State. You picked them to win by
all of a sudden
that much of a spread. But yeah, dude, Aiden Childs carries the ball out like this, dude. Like
he does.
There's no
We have a special guest in the background here, Garrison.
Gentlemen.
Oh, there.
How are we doing today?
Garrison?
I'm doing fine.
My dude.
I just got done bartending.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're talking Michigan State, Nebraska.
Yeah. Well, I gotta be rapid fire here. How many games do we have?
3. Michigan State, Nebraska, Ohio State, and Michigan. Minnesota at Ohio State, and Wisconsin at Michigan.
Okay, I have Nebraska winning this game, 33-30. I do think Michigan State covers that. Nebraska, I think it's the battle of the mid. You have a mid offensive line that's also injured against Nebraska's terrible linebacker-filled defensive line. I think Michigan State's running backs are capable. They will run the ball. Aiden Childs will have a great game. So will Dylan Raiola, but Nebraska pulls it out.
Did you say 33-30?
Wow.
Nebraska. Oh yeah.
Wow. All right. That's fine. Carry on.
What was the next
Minnesota
game?
at Ohio State. Minnesota at Ohio State.
As a bartender, you're not supposed to be drinking.
What you guys think Michigan State's gonna get blown out?
Yes.
No.
I had it 31-20, but yeah, I'd love it if it's that close.
No. And Nebraska has a capable secondary, but I think Michigan State can put points up. Yeah, Ohio State, Minnesota. Minnesota actually comes in with a top 5 pressure rate. So we'll see what happens there. Ohio State's gonna get pressure this season. By the way, Austin Sarabel is the only offensive tackle in college football who has not given up a pressure this season. Give me Ohio State.
Okay.
Give me Ohio State. Give me Ohio State 38. Give me Minnesota 10. 13. Give me 13. 38-13. 13. Ohio State gives up 13 points. It's the first time they give double digits this season.
Wow.
Minnesota.
Yeah, no, Minnesota has a good passing game. I think they'll be able to get some shot plays. I think get a few of them. That'll put them in position to get some field goals. I'm probably being too nice. 38-10. 38-10.
That sounds right to me.
Was there? And then you guys versus
Wisconsin.
Belt to ass.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
Now I will say this.
Who's belt, who's ass?
Now I will say this though, I did talk to some Wolverine fans over the weekend, and they say there's nothing that you can really get from this game. No, there is. Now Wisconsin hasn't really played anybody, but they're still the number 1 rush defense in the country.
Yeah.
I would love to see you guys. I wouldn't love to, but I want to see you guys' offensive line. See if they can actually get some push against their D line. I think the rush yards is more of a product of Justice Hayes than it is your offensive line. I think your offensive line is actually terrible. But but I think
again with the drinking, you need to stop.
but I do think Bryce Underwood gets his first 300-yard game. Give me the Wolverines. How about 20? Let's go 31-3. 31-3.
31-3. All right. Hey, real quick, Garrison, if you were picking Penn State and UCLA, what would you put there?
50-0.
That's what. It's the exact same thing that.
Oh no, they're gonna work out some demons this week. They're gonna work it out. But appreciate you guys, everybody. If you haven't already, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to these guys' channel. If you haven't already, share it on your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, MySpace, everywhere. All right, guys.
Dude, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate you, Garrison. Have a good night.
I think MySpace was back in Phil's days, but all right, guys. See ya.
Yeah. See you, Garrison. Dude. Thanks for stopping by.
Of course.
Nice.
Well, that's nice. Always love it when Garrison stops by, sort of.
I should have said everybody should like and subscribe to his channel too. He's over there at Ohio State at the Voice of College Football, doing a lot of good stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Wolverine Page is saying the same thing. Garrison is drinking.
He's completely wrong about Michigan's line, but whatever. Yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah. I need to jump back here. Rashad said, Michigan fan here, since Harbaugh was the QB playing Nebraska in the Fiesta Bowl, I need to see Sharon coached team annihilate someone not Northwestern or Central. Okay.
Yeah.
So he wants to see him annihilate Wisconsin. All right, we'll get to that one. The last question I wanted to ask about the Michigan State Nebraska game then is which of these teams has the most to prove right now? They're both, like we said, they're both 3-1. They're kind of in similar situations.
I'd say Nebraska.
Okay.
I mean, Matt Rule's teams start flourishing. How many years has he been there? Like, is this his third?
This is
fourth?
3. So yeah, it's usually 3.
This is the third year. This is about the time that you start seeing the results, and just like if it's not the result, like you only have 2 more years left of Dylan Raiola, and then what? Who do you have coming in?
Probably one.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
maybe, yeah,
probably one.
Yeah.
So it's just like need to start seeing some results. And if not, then when? So I think Matt Rule has more to prove.
All right.
I agree. I mean, like I said, it's year 3 with Rule. Everybody kind of had that narrative. We got to see the results. Year 3, you've seen it everywhere else in his career, whereas Johnson Smith, just a few games into his second season, Rule's got to get it together, man. And I don't think he can, truthfully.
Yeah. Mac?
So this is the problem, is that both of these programs started down while the rest of the Big Ten is really good, and they bring in Oregon and Washington and USC. Yeah. These two programs, who used to be rather strong, are bringing in new coaches at the exact wrong time. Matt Rule, I think, is going to end up being moderately successful at Nebraska. Mm-hmm. But it's going to take lightning in a bottle for them to ever win the Big Ten. I don't see that really ever happening because there's way too much ground for them to make up. They don't have the resources of an Ohio State, a Michigan, freaking Indiana, apparently. I mean, who saw that coming? They have Indiana has the second highest coaching assistant coaching salary pool in the nation. So Nebraska is in serious trouble because of that. But Matt Rule's a talented coach, and he's a proven coach, and they've definitely gotten better. So maybe there's something there, but I still don't think they'll ever win the Big Ten. Michigan State is in a whole different level of hell. I mean, because I think Jonathan Smith is a good coach, but he came in at the exact wrong time for the exact wrong reasons with absolutely nobody on the team, and everybody in Spartan Nation is already turning on him.
Yeah, he had to take over for Mel Tugger. So
and that really just tugs at your heartstrings, doesn't it? So I mean, the guy, it's not his fault. It's not his fault. Nope. Michigan State has always been a dumpster fire. Just because Mark D'Antonio made it smell a little bit better for 10 years doesn't mean that they're not still a dumpster fire. They've been a dumpster fire. There are a dumpster fire now, and they will always be a dumpster fire no matter who is the head coach of that program.
I don't know, man. Mark D'Antonio was the best shot they ever had, and so I mean, you can't really say it was a dumpster fire then towards the end because he gave up on the recruiting trail and just about done. But
that's what I was going to say. Mark D'Antonio was a good coach, but at the end there, like you said, he gave up on the recruiting trail, and he also sort of screwed the he was on his way out, but he stayed long enough to get his bonus and then pushed them out from getting the next coach, which caused a whole recruiting issue.
Mm-hmm. Completely self-centered individual.
Yeah. And then, of course, Mel Tucker obviously decimates the program with his situation. Yeah. So Jonathan Smith has a huge hill to climb.
Oh, yeah.
What?
What kind of it? No, I still can't even fathom what was going through Mel Tucker's head while he's on the phone with a woman that he invited to come speak to the team about sexual harassment. What?
It's like, use me as an example, please.
And then apparently he tried to intimidate her and threaten her to just shut up.
That's what cowards and pervs do, for sure. Yeah. No, but to Mac's point, I mean, Nebraska is a fan base that has higher expectations than Michigan State, first of all. And so that's why there's a little more pressure on Rule than there is on Jonathan Smith. But also, they lost their recruiting base, man, and I think they just have a cap that they, like you said, I don't think they'll ever win a Big Ten championship. I don't see that as a scenario, as a possibility at all for Nebraska moving forward. They just have a talent cap, and I don't think they'll ever break through that ceiling. It's unfortunate. I think he will have moderate success, just like Max said, but it's not going to be enough to salvage a career there.
All right, before we get on to our next game, the poll is sitting at 18 votes. All right, everybody out there in the chat, take a look at that poll and make a vote because we need more votes over there. We got 26 people online. See what you think.
And like the video, too.
Michigan is still winning, style not included.
Yeah.
Our next game is we're gonna hit Minnesota at Ohio State, and then after that we will hit Wisconsin at Michigan. So Minnesota at Ohio State. So the betting lines show a massive spread here. We got 23.5 points, but a modest over under 44.5. Lopsided money line. 1,200 to 3,000. Goodness gracious. The biggest question, I think, is whether Minnesota has any hope in this game or if they just need to keep it close. Like we've said before in previous shows, I think that PJ Fleck has peaked, and I think Minnesota is essentially coasting. Yep. I don't know, but at any rate, this isn't about my analysis. You guys, let's go around. Rob, you can go ahead and start. What is your analysis for this game? What's going to happen?
I'd say their only hope is, this giant bolt of lightning just comes crashing down the field and just inflames the stadium, and then the game has to be canceled. But other than that, the prognosis, it's not looking too good. One thing I will say is I'd not expect this defense to be running as great as it is with a defensive coordinator who was last in college many years ago at Syracuse. And, it's just, he has his offense humming like a fine-tuned machine. I mean, you could say back in the Texas game that, Arch is overrated. His mechanics suck. But, dude, Desmond Williams Jr., man, he was balling out before they played Ohio State. Completely took away his legs, and he had some nice throws, but, they just couldn't do anything in the red zone. And, I don't see Minnesota being able to put up like many points against Ohio State. And no, I don't see Minnesota as being the first team to be able to put up more than being able to put up double digits against Ohio State. This could be a game for Ohio State on offense to, continue establishing the run game with Bo Jackson. I saw him at the spring game. Not surprised that he's pretty much RB1. He got a pretty much big bulk of the carries. I think it was 17, 18 carries in that game. And it's just, he's been phenomenal. He's going to have a great career, unless, unfortunate injury happens, knock on wood. But also I will say that, I don't know if you guys agree with me with this, but I think Ryan Day has just taken a whole different approach to this offense. If you look at the time possession against against Washington, they held on the ball for about a little bit over half of the game. And, they took 8 minutes off the clock for in terms of the start of the third quarter.
They look like Michigan.
Right. But here's not complete with the run game, but because Julian Stain is so good on 2nd and 7 or 3rd and 4, he is so accurate. It's not even fair. But I just don't see a scenario where Minnesota just comes in and makes it competitive. I mean, I could be wrong, but I have Ohio State winning 34 to I'll give him 9.
3 field goals.
Yep, 3 field goals.
Peter, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear what you guys think of the Buckeyes so far throughout this season. So definitely want to listen to some of your analysis, but you guys would be surprised to know that Minnesota has the 9th ranked total defense in terms of yards per game given up. Now, obvious opponent caveats apply. They've only played one real offense so far, and that was the Kale Bears, and they got destroyed by them. And so you have to take that with a grain of salt. But statistically, for now, they're not going to finish 9th in the nation at the end of the season. But that's where they are right now. And especially they're going to take some damage this weekend in the horseshoe. Julian Sand is just an accurate machine. I just don't understand how quickly he gets the ball out, how decisive he is, and how accurate he is. Even with men in his face, he doesn't panic. He doesn't get flustered. And that's a really encouraging sign for a young quarterback, because that's not very common, at least not in all the years I've been watching college football. But yeah, man, I think Ryan Day is I agree with Rob. He's evolving. We're seeing the evolution and the adaptation of Ryan Day. He is learning to win different ways, and that's encouraging from a Buckeye perspective. He is learning he doesn't need to blitz these nobody teams and show everything to defensive coordinators, rather holding back and showing a little restraint so that not everything is on film, so that Michigan can prepare and, have a whole season of tape and come and destroy and take our joy. So he's holding some things back, and he's leaning on the defense. The run game does need some improvement still for Ohio State. I think we have two kind of average backs behind Bo Jackson. And so that's somewhat problematic, but Bo Jackson's pretty elite. This one doesn't stay close, man. Drake Lindsey is a good quarterback. He's exceeding expectations, but they just don't have too many weapons. I mean, he's spreading it around well. He's got 3 wide receivers with right around 200 yards, so he's kind of spreading the wealth. But this Ohio State defense is going to completely annihilate them and take away any threat that they have. Just 2019 was a long time ago. Let's just be honest about that. Like, that was a great season, and they haven't shown that they can get back to those heights. They have a couple good players here and there, some good players in the secondary. Corey Parrish is a guy Ohio State was pursuing, a top 100 player. He's filling that Antoine Winfield Jr. role. And they got some great defensive ends as well. Devon Williams number 0, Anthony. He has 4.5 sacks on the season. But all in all, it's not going to make a difference, man. Like, this sinks. I have a soft spot for Minnesota. My sister went to school up in that area, the Minneapolis area. It's a great place, but again, and some great people. But they're going to be disappointed this weekend. I see it another game where an opponent doesn't reach double digits. This defense is unreal. They're nation's #1 defense last year and somehow found a way to improve. I don't get it. I don't. I love it though.
Yeah, they started playing teams without an offense.
Here's a
sorry.
Wait a minute, Peter. Rob, before you go, Peter, what's your pick?
38-9. 38-9. So close to Rob.
I will answer that about how they got better. That one of their best linebackers was sitting on the bench. One of their best cornerbacks was sitting on the bench. I mean, Alvarez, he's looking to be a top 15 pick. Just came out of nowhere. And just this defensive line. I mean, Caden Curry, 11 solo tackles for defensive end. That's just insane. 5 tackles for loss, and 2 to 3 sacks. And also in terms of the offense, I don't think they have to score a lot of points. Their defense is that good. I don't really see them having to get into some type of shootout until I mean, God forbid they don't make the playoffs. So they make the playoffs, and they got to go against a team with a high-powered offense. Be okay. Now this is when we got to take off the gloves and adjust and adapt to what our opponent does.
Kind of like Michigan.
Yeah, kind of like trestle ball though. Is how I compare it to. But yeah, it's very accurate. I agree.
Yeah.
Mac, I do have a question in the chat I wanted to get to, but I'll let you do your analysis first.
You can get to the chat.
Let me do. All right.
Yeah, do the chat first.
Okay, so Robert and Juliana Nellet here said Julian saying is not accurate when he plays a man-to-man defense. He's under 50%.
So where did they find? Because I looked that up. I couldn't find that anywhere. So where did they find that stat?
I don't know. We'll have to. If you guys are still out there, Robert and Juliana, there, let us know where you got that stat, and then we will talk about that some more. Yeah. Wolverine Gage here has he I like picking against Ohio State, but they will win 38-10. So everybody is right in there in the 30s there. So Mac, what is your analysis of this?
I think PJ Fleck probably wishes he had stayed at Western Michigan. Dude, could you imagine how many MAC titles we would have?
It'd be better than Toledo. Yep, for sure.
Who leaves? I'm sorry. You had it made at Western Michigan. The town worshipped you. All right. And I get it. Like, so PJ Fleck, I believe, was a Tressel guy, actually.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So if Ohio State called him, I get it for sure. And that actually probably would have been a halfway decent fit because he's a great recruiter and he's really good. He's a really great offensive mind. If he had brought in like a Jim Knowles or I guess Matt Patricia apparently on defense, then those teams actually probably would have been pretty good. But Minnesota, and I remember watching the press conference and he just goes, I'm coming to Minnesota to win championships. The hell you are? What a championship in what? Like big teeth? I don't know.
Sweater vests and smiles.
Sweater vest, yeah, really though. It's a joke. Oh, Minnesota's a joke, and his career has been wasted on another dumpster fire school. Minnesota's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere as a coach after Minnesota because Minnesota is making him look bad. That's the problem. He almost the best thing that he could probably do for his career at this point is resign from Minnesota and go be an assistant under Kirby Smart or frankly Ryan Day. I think he would actually have a better future doing something like that, where he goes, he rehabilitates his image a little bit, and then gets a job at like a UCLA or well, maybe not UCLA, but gets a job at somewhere with resources. What's that?
I said he'd be right back to square one, dude.
Yeah, no, you're right though. I mean, yeesh, I think
there's nowhere to go but up.
There's yeah.
It would be hard to give up head coach money, but yeah, it's a slow fade for him in Minneapolis right now.
But like that's the thing is you think long term, how long can he last at Minnesota? Mm-hmm. And so is it actually like a better long term play for him to leave Minnesota and go somewhere else, take a little bit of a pay cut if it means that eventually he can end up in a better place? And that better place to me, honestly, is the prospect of a future job. Because the longer he stays at Minnesota, the likelier it is that he's going to end up getting fired, and the less likely it is that he gets another job. That's what I think about Minnesota. Now, Peter, to your point, Minnesota does have the 9th best total defense in the country, which is wild. But yeah, I mean, like you said, they've played nobody. They've played They played Buffalo, Northwestern State, Cal, and Rutgers. Rutgers is the only team really that I think out of all of those is really worth very much on offense. Cal Cal beat them. So there's
true freshman quarterback.
Yeah,
just tore them apart.
Yeah. So, but they have absolutely nothing to speak of as far as offense is concerned, which is actually hilarious because if you look at total offense, Ohio State's ranked 32nd in total offense. Minnesota's ranked 63rd, so that's a bit of a disparity. But if you look at passing yards, Ohio State's 40, Minnesota's 45, which just goes to show you Ohio State is playing Michigan ball. They don't need to throw the ball very much. They don't need to run, or they are running the ball a little bit anyway, but they're playing boa constrictor ball because their defense is so freaking good.
So
and
dominant.
Yes, I am a believer that Arch Manning is overrated. Washington, for some reason, got into the red zone but couldn't figure out what to do from there on. I don't know what that was about. Ohio has a horrible offense and yet was within – actually, they don't. I shouldn't say that. Ohio was within one score of Ohio State going into the fourth quarter, I want to say. Grambling's FCS. Whatever. So I do think that Ohio State's defense has yet to play a complete offense, but there's no questioning that their defense, statistically speaking, is incredibly good, and Matt Patricia is doing some good stuff there. This is not going to be a close game. Minnesota doesn't have a prayer. It's 45-6, Ohio State.
You do realize that Coleman, Muhammad, and Desmond Williams were averaging over 500 yards of total offense coming into that game, and there were a lot of picks, such as yourself, saying that Washington was going to upset Ohio State. And now we're hearing Ohio State has yet to play a complete offense.
I will tell you, and this doesn't look good for me, but I'm just going to be honest with you. A lot of the times when I make my picks, It's because I don't know what I'm talking about. I only know
like and subscribe.
I only know, yeah, smash the like and subscribe button, guys. I only know that Washington's offense is not very good inside the red zone because I watched that game on Saturday, not because I've watched them all throughout the season. If I had watched that nonsense all throughout the season, maybe I'm changing my mind. But at the same time, Rob, to your point, I did say in a video that I released during the week that Washington also hasn't actually even played anybody. So who knows how good they are? It was just the fact that they look really good. They are putting up a lot of yards when they come up
and
against
points,
when they come up. Yeah. And points. Yeah, I should say that. But when they come up against a complete defense, like what Ohio State has, they put up the yards for sure. They marched down the field several times. They couldn't score to save their lives. So they're not a red zone offense. And there's a huge difference between being an offense that can march down the field and put up all those yards. But when you get inside the 20 and the field shrinks, what are you able to do? And they couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting. I just to play the other side on this, Rob, you're absolutely right that there's that flip-flop on predictions. That, this is the best game they're ever going to play. Oh, well, they've never played a good defense or good offense in that. But to some extent, and this is the other side of it, is you really don't know this early in the season. And people make these predictions. I think what happens is people overestimate their predictions. And so they overestimated Washington based on their early games. And then come to find out, no, Ohio State's just going to roll them like they roll everybody else. And so then the predictions have to change because now you have to justify why you said that in the first place.
Yeah.
But also,
I agree with you that people flip-flop on those things and it gets kind of annoying, but I think that's why.
Which I absolutely did. And that's why we didn't build
I stand by that.
We didn't build this channel on being right. We built it on being funny. There's a very important distinction there.
And you are funny.
I have one more question for you guys. This is probably mainly for Peter and Rob, but Mac, you can chime in on this one too.
Rude.
I saw some chatter on X about how Ohio State gets disrespected because they're number one, and yet people say they're not number one enough. Some Ohio State fans and say that. I'm not putting that on you guys, but what I'm wondering is that, like it or not, when you're number one, every week you have to prove that you deserve to be there.
Facts.
There's no coasting. There's no guaranteed success, especially when you're number one. If you're number 10, there's a different question or a different conversation. But when you're number one, like it or not, you have to prove it every single week. Does Ohio State have to so now that we've already talked about Minnesota, but what does Ohio State have to do this week to continue to prove that they deserve to be number one, aside from winning the game, which I know sounds dumb, but you guys know what I mean by that.
Well, I will say that it's going to be a long season. And as we saw last season, rankings don't actually matter. What actually matters is if you get into the playoffs, and what you do with that opportunity is completely up to your team. So I will say that, if Ohio State keeps winning, but they dropped to 2 or 3 because, oh my gosh, they didn't put up 1 million points, they didn't shut out, that team, then I'm fine with that, because at that point, okay, they're still undefeated. There's the playoffs, and just like it's just numbers, you guys. But it's not just a number if you're out of the the playoff hunt. I will say that. So if you're 13. 14, then you got something to worry about. But if you're one of those 12 teams who are going to make the playoff, make the most of it. So would I be upset if Ohio State at some point in the season wasn't number one, but no, I wouldn't.
All right, Peter, what do you think?
Well, no, it's a fun analysis because everybody is critiquing the number one with a different analysis, a critical eye, and for the simple fact that everybody wants to see the number one team in the nation lose. Everybody wants to see that upset. Everybody roots for the upsets in college football. That's just what college football fandom is. Yeah. And so I think there is a possibility that Oregon jumps us at some point, or maybe the Hurricanes. They're certainly in contention for looking the best so far and looking the part. Maybe Ohio State does drop, but until the playoff rankings come, I don't truly care. Like that's when the rankings really start mattering in November. If we're in that top 5, I'm here for it, man.
But I will say that even playoff rankings, dude, I kind of don't want Ohio State to have that, that bye week, that about a month off, because Peter, we both know how Ohio State plays coming off an extremely long bye week. So,
Mac, you got any thoughts on that one, or you want to go to the next game?
No,
what does Ohio State have to do to prove they're number 1 this week?
They don't have to do anything to prove that they are number 1. And just because, everybody else isn't good enough to be number 1 because they're currently the best team in the nation. Oregon might have something to say about that soon. But, right now, Ohio State has the best win of anybody over Texas, although Alabama just beat Georgia. So I don't know. Anyway,
Alabama beat Georgia last season, didn't matter. So
it didn't matter. Yeah, you're right. Kirby Smart has an Alabama problem. That's really odd.
Just like Ryan Day's Michigan problem.
Yeah, really. But anyway, Ohio State doesn't need to do anything to prove that they're number 1. Everybody else just needs to stop crying about it. Yes, I would love to see Ohio State lose every single game. I'm sorry, but actually, no, I'm not. That just comes with the fandom. But
gotta do it.
But they are the number 1 team in the nation, and they are really good. So it's okay. We can all emotionally just be okay with the fact that sometimes Ohio State has a really good team. They had a really good team last year, still lost to Michigan, but they had a really good team. It's okay.
All right.
Let's get to our last game. This is Wisconsin. The Badgers are coming into Ann Arbor Stadium to play the number 20 Michigan Wolverines. Michigan's faced a strong opponent in Nebraska last week, but they won. At least they got away with it, by at least 3 points there. But maybe not as confidently as we Michigan fans would have hoped. Wisconsin got embarrassed last week by Maryland. Luke Fickle is struggling at Wisconsin. Michigan is hanging on, and Sharon Moore is back. So this week, the spread is 17.5 points in Michigan's favor. 43.5 points is the over-under. Let's talk some analysis on Wisconsin at number 20, Michigan. We'll go back to you, Rob. What do you think? What's going to happen?
I was trying to stomach even looking up this game, which it's not very meaningful. But I will say, when I was looking up rushing defenses for the other games, Wisconsin currently has the number 1 rush defense in all of college football, giving up only 55 yards per game. So that's something that's going for them. Other than that, Luke Fickle's on the hot seat. I'm looking at the schedule he has left after Michigan. They have number 1 Ohio State, then the following week, number 2 Oregon, then they play Washington, then 8 Indiana, then 22 Illinois. I think this is it, man. I think, he's, after that he could get fired in the middle of the season. There could be a chance that the athletic director is standing there with a box full of all the stuff from the office. And thanks for coming out.
Thanks for coming. Well, thanks for trying.
Thanks for trying. We really regret firing Paul Chryst.
Paul Chryst, yeah.
Yep,
another 9-10 win coach.
Yeah, they thought it. But here's the thing about Luke Fickle, and I talked to Peter about this as well. When Luke, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, he turned around Cincinnati Bobcats," but that's the thing. He recruited well enough for the Cincinnati Bobcats to do well in their conference. Yep. But when you saw them make it to the playoffs against the Alabamas of the world under Nick Saban, they just couldn't compete because that's where the giant talent gap came. So at the end of the day, I don't think he's meant for to be a coach at a big time program. At a Cincinnati, maybe at a TCU possibly, or somewhere in the ACC, I guess.
Or
I don't know, but
I don't know, maybe like Western Michigan.
Go back to Conference USA, something like that. But
he'd get paid at Western.
Or he would, but or even the MAC. But
yeah,
the recruiting has been just god awful. They're not even ranked in the top. They're not even ranked in the top 40. I don't even think the top 60. It doesn't seem to be getting any better. There's not that many resources. I know I'm talking doom and gloom about Luke Fickle and the Wisconsin Badgers. But that's just what it is. It's doom and gloom. I mean, usually you see, everyone's like, okay, let's give him year 3 or 4, and just like, okay, I finally see it. He was at the Cincinnati Bearcats, and he just recruited well enough to do well enough in that conference. And you know what? I don't even want to hear about their win against Notre Dame. We all know what Brian Kelly does in those type of games. He just pees down his pant, pees down his leg, and sings Kumbaya. But I have Michigan. I have Michigan winning 45-0.
Dear God!
Wow.
What? Oh my goodness! Wow,
great response.
He is so done with the Luke Fickell era in Wisconsin.
Man,
I've wondered about that myself. He had Cincinnati at number 4. They were in the playoffs, right?
Yeah,
they were there.
Yep.
And now just can't get anywhere. But
because it's just like, look, when they what conference wasn't Cincinnati Conference USA?
No, they're.
I thought Big 12.
Well, they're in the Big 12 now, but they're. God, what conference? The American. They were in the defunct American.
So there's a big difference. The American, what is it? The Mid-American Conference?
No, the American.
The American Conference, and then you're battling the big bad SEC and the Big 10, and like just on the Power 5 conference national level, that's just there's no comparison at all. Again, he recruited well enough. I mean, he's an Ohio guy. He was getting those leftovers who didn't go to Ohio State, and we saw what happened when Kentucky benefited from that. They were a respectable team, and that's exactly what happened. But now Luke Fickell is competing on a big national level against the likes of Oregon, Michigan, Ohio State, now Indiana, and they had a back-to-back head-to-head against Alabama. It's not good. That's all I'm going to say.
Peter, what's your analysis of this game?
I heard for Luke Fickell, man, because he has done so much for the Ohio State Buckeyes program. He is a Buckeye through and through. And this is the 3rd consecutive season in Wisconsin where his starting transfer quarterback is out. We don't know if he's going to be back for this game. I really don't think it makes a difference if he is, because one, Billy Edwards isn't that great, and he would be extremely rusty after missing a couple weeks now. Danny O'Neal is not. He's not a Big Ten quarterback. I'll just put it like that. But when I was looking at the defensive stats, kind of like Rob, I was actually pretty surprised. Their third down opponent conversion percentage is 9th best in the nation at 24%. I was astounded by that when they played Alabama and some other big programs so far this season. Maryland undefeated, and so to get off the field that consecutively or that consistently, on defense really points to just how bad this Wisconsin offense is. Because when your defense is playing that well on third downs, you should probably be better than 2-2, but they're not. And, looking at Wisconsin as well, like who would have thought 5 years ago that a Wisconsin running back 4 games into the season, their leading rusher would have 154 yards and 1 touchdown. He's their leader, Dylan James. Not getting it done. I know he switched offenses. He switched to the air raid. I get that. But when you abandon a program's identity, you have to do it slowly, not abruptly.
Yeah, just ask Rich Rod.
Yep. Comes to mind for everybody watching this one.
Yeah.
Enough about Wisconsin. I'll talk about Justice Haynes, man. I think he is phenomenal. I think he is probably in the top 3 running backs you've had this century. I put him up there with Mike Hart, Blake Corum. Chris Perry's maybe in that conversation. But Justice Haynes is a freak, man. For every single game this year, he's had a run for over 50 yards. And if Michigan keeps on winning, he might start to get a little Heisman buzz towards the end of the season. We'll see how that goes. Bryce Underwood, What can I say, man? He is unbelievable. But I am a little concerned about the completion percentage. He has the worst completion percentage of any starting Big Ten quarterback. Now, he is the only true freshman starting quarterback in the Big Ten, so keep that in mind. But and he does only have 3 touchdowns on this season, but he's doing what is asked of him. He has a rocket attached to his arm, and it's going to be fun to watch him continue to compete this year. I have Michigan winning this one. I'm going to change actually from what I wrote down. I'm going to give Michigan 30 points, and the Badgers only 13. I don't think they only reach the end zone once. So Michigan gets another win, man. Move to 2-0 in the Big Ten.
Nice.
You know, I'm talking about just Luke Fickell may not finish the season. You know how they fired Herm Edwards? You know, the athletic director just came up and, just whispered in his ear and just like, oh, okay, I've just been fired. I think it's going to be a little different. I think, they're just going to, shake hands. There's going to be a note in the athletic director's hand just slid to Luke Fickell and just going to say, get out.
just go.
Be gone.
I appreciate all the effort. Carry on.
I always think it's funny when at those press conferences that the athletic directors give after they've just fired the coach, we want to thank coach for everything he's done for the program. You just fired his ass. What do you mean what he did for the program? You
thanked him.
You could just say, yeah, it didn't work out. That's it. But Luke Fickell did. I am disappointed as well that didn't work out for him. He did a lot for Ohio State. And, I thought, there'd be some chance he would turn around just even a little bit, but just, it's kind of like that meme where, you see the kid, just poking, the turtle with the stick and do something. So,
was he the at Ohio State? Was he the OC or the DC or something
else?
He
was the DC on our title winning team. Yep.
Okay.
In 2014.
Because I was almost wondering, because I remember when we did a video on Luke Fickell when he first got to Wisconsin. And I just remember him doing the press conference at Ohio State saying how much he loved Ohio State. He loved Ohio. He dreamed about Ohio. He dreamed about playing for Ohio State. He's dreamed about being at Ohio State. It was just over and over again. I mean, more than, every coach says, oh, this is my dream job. But you could see it in his eyes and hear it in his voice. That's where he wanted to be. And I'm wondering if after 2011, when he got a shot, if Cincinnati was his attempt to reprove himself and he was hoping to get back to Ohio State in some capacity.
Sure.
And maybe that's why he's not committed to Wisconsin because he wants to get back to Ohio State.
His heart is elsewhere.
Yeah. Mac.
His heart is back with his first love.
So I know you're probably going to pick Wisconsin for this one, but why don't you just go through your analysis anyway?
Wisconsin by 100. No. Okay, so I do actually have some halfway intelligent analysis for this. Yes, randomly, Wisconsin does have the best rush defense in the country, allowing 50 yards per game. Let us look at their opponents, shall we? The Miami Redhawks. Wisconsin beat them 17-0. They are averaging 136.5 rush yards a game. They are 97th in the nation for rushing offense.
Yes.
Middle Tennessee, Wisconsin trashed them 42-10. They're ranked 133rd in rushing offense. Alabama, an SEC powerhouse, 108th in rushing offense. Maryland, 123rd. Wisconsin has played a grand total of one team ranked in the top 100 of total rushing offense. And that team is a MAC school. So their rushing defense, yes, statistics are great. But you got to look at the data set. You got to look at the variables. And the variables are, unfortunately, Wisconsin has not played anybody with a pulse in their running back room.
Yep.
Which is odd for Alabama. I'm actually a little surprised about that. But in any case, it really doesn't matter because Garrison is completely wrong about Michigan's offensive line. They figured something out against both Central and Nebraska. I think Wisconsin's defensive line is going to be a little bit better, but they're still going to run all over them. They really are. But here's the thing. I don't actually think that they should. I think that they should let Bryce Underwood throw the ball around. And I have this sneaking suspicion that they will, because they've really got to work on the drops. You know, I can't remember who was mentioning it, the incompletion percentage for Bryce Underwood. Yeah, it's dreadful. Against Nebraska, he had a 50% completion percentage. If you take out the drops by the wide receivers, that goes up to north of 70%. So a lot of those incompletions, I mean, he's a true freshman. He's thrown a couple of errant balls for sure, but a lot of those incompletions are on the wide receivers. Sharon Moore talked in his press conference last Monday that they needed to work on the drops over the bye week, and I believe that they will and have. And I think that this game against Wisconsin represents an opportunity for them to actually unleash on a historically good Big Ten opponent. If they can make a statement win against Wisconsin, then USC is on notice. And that game becomes really interesting. And I think it's going to happen. I have some faith in Sharon Moore and that he's going to give Bryce Underwood the keys to the offense a little bit more here. So I'm taking Michigan 56-0.
Oh, goodness.
56-0.
Fight me.
All right.
No respect. And there's no reason to give respect to Wisconsin right now. It's true.
One last question for you guys. So as I was talking about Ohio State, being number one, they've got something to prove to stay in number one. Michigan is a national championship 15-0 team that went 8-5 the following season. Now, we look at that as, the best 8-5 season ever because of the silver lining of beating Michigan State, Ohio State, Alabama, and Minnesota. But we don't want that to happen again.
And USC.
And USC, yeah. So this year, I feel Sharon Moore has something to prove. And so far, it's kind of like it's on the border. We're not sure yet if he has proven himself. I know, Rob, I think you've talked about this many times. You're just not sure about Sharon Moore. And to be honest, I'm not either, because we haven't seen that standout performance yet from the team. Of course, he only coached 2 games. By the way, Michigan is 8-0 when their coach is suspended. But Sharon Moore is back this week. So I want to ask you guys, what does Sharon Moore have to do in this game? I mean, we're talking about this as essentially an easy win, or it should be a win. What does Sharon Moore have to prove in this game? What needs to happen to push him more over into the plus category? And I'll start with Rob. Well, Rob, you're muted, I think.
Oh yeah, sorry. For me, this is just not the okay, he has to prove himself. I'll say it's going to be the following weekend where they travel to the Coliseum to take on the USC Trojans. I'll say that's the game where he has to prove something. I'm not gonna take this Wisconsin game, at the big house. I mean, Wisconsin is just a hot pile of garbage. I'm gonna say next weekend, I'll be impressed if they went on the road against USC.
All right. Peter, how about you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as we discussed, Luke Fickell is leading a declining program. He's on his way out. There's not a ton that can be gleaned from this contest, but next week in USC is going to be a big proving point for me too. If they can win another road game against a quality opponent, I wouldn't say USC is a great opponent, but a quality one, that would prove a lot to me. Going on the road and being able to win. I don't think it's going to be a hostile environment because obviously, USC just the last couple of years has not really packed the Coliseum like they should, and Michigan fans travel well. But, yeah, much more will be gleaned next week than this one. This should be a fairly easy contest and a fairly easy win for the Wolverines this weekend.
All right. Mac, what do you think?
I don't know. He doesn't need to do anything to prove himself except just give Bryce Underwood the keys to the offense and let him play. Let him and the wide receivers figure it out. I mean, yeah, I think Peter and Rob nailed it. You're not going to learn anything against Wisconsin. I mean, I suppose you might. I think it would be good if they end up winning against Wisconsin like 56-0, then what you learned was that Michigan is capable of a blowout. And that's something that we really need to see under Sharon Moore, because right now Central Michigan and Northwestern are the only blowouts that we have under Sharon Moore right now. Last season in the non-conference, didn't really get a blowout. New Mexico this season wasn't a blowout. Oklahoma almost got blown out. I mean, we need blowouts for Sharon Moore, because I feel like those blowouts are something that you can really hang your hat on confidence-wise going into some of those other games, because those other teams are looking at, oh, they beat Central Michigan 56 to whatever, 60 something to whatever. Like, they are apparently capable of scoring points, and a lot of them. So we need to see something like that against Wisconsin. I will say, though, USC's offense is really good, albeit a little inconsistent. Defensively, I feel like they've taken a step back this season.
Thank you.
So Michigan might end up getting into a shootout with them, not a full-on shootout, but a game in which they need to keep up with USC's offense or outscore USC rather than just stop USC, if that makes sense. Which means they need this game against Wisconsin to unlock Bryce Underwood and give him the confidence that he needs to go into that USC game and ball out.
Yeah, so they have USC in Washington. I think you guys lose one of those. I have you guys losing one of those. I just don't know which one.
Washington's at home this year, so if we lose one of those, it's against USC, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, that's what I was more thinking too. But
I see that discourse too that Cliff mentioned, like, the Michigan fans looking for something to hang their hat on, give them that assuredness in what Sharon Moore can be. It's definitely a discussion going on online and in the fan base. And so I think that there needs to be something proven. I mean, with this schedule, if they don't, get to 9 wins, I could see those cracks and those concerns, still permeating to the fan base. Now you beat Ohio State again, all that gets thrown out the window. But I mean, there's no scenario where Michigan goes, 8-4 in the regular season, in my opinion, this year. But the other thing is, I think recruits, specifically wide receiver recruits, need to see them open up the offense a little bit. If you get Bryce Underwood some dominant receivers in the portal this offseason, watch out, man. Watch out, Big Ten defenses.
Yeah.
All right, guys, just to close things out real quick, I hadn't planned on doing Penn State scores, but since we got one from Ben and we got one from Garrison, I want to get one from you guys. So I'm just going to go around. You can just do it real quick. Rob, what would you do? What do you got for Penn State UCLA?
56-0.
Peter?
That's not fair.
They don't even have a head coach right now.
Nope.
That's not hurt Michigan.
Guaranteed to be 0-12. 48-0 is my prediction.
48-0. All right. Mac, you're going to nobody's given UCLA any points so far.
63-3.
I dig it.
All right, guys.
You know how I knew that Sean Foster was not going to work out when he was at that Big Ten, interview during
media days. Yeah,
media days. Like, hi, we're UCLA, and we're from LA. It's just like,
we're a university in LA.
Yeah,
no,
we play at the
statement.
Rose Bowl. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us tonight. Where can everybody find you guys on regular occasions?
Go for it, Rob.
Yeah, you can find Peter and I on Buckeye's Battlecry. Battlecry is one word, and we go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And again, like I'm going to say this, guys said before, if you're gonna subscribe to an Ohio State channel, be in for it for the long run. Don't be like, oh my gosh, they're actually saying something about Michigan, and then you dip because we do the exact opposite the following week. So that's what happens when you subscribe to a channel that's your biggest rival. So
no, Rob, what you're supposed to say is if you're gonna subscribe to an Ohio State channel, subscribe to ours too. Peter, anything you want to add to that?
Well, unfortunately, we missed the live last night. We were talking to ourselves for about an hour and 5 minutes and thinking we were live on the channel when in fact we were not live on the channel.
So
and there was no salvaging that video, unfortunately. So
what
we had a fun time. But
what happened was I scheduled a live and I clicked for it to go to YouTube, and we click live, but for some reason when you log into YouTube, it still said the live was scheduled for 7 p.m. at September 30th. So we don't know what's happening because I scheduled another live and I tried to go live and the same exact thing happened. So I'm gonna email you with the exact details. Maybe you can help us out a bit. So
that happened to us once too, and it was something to do with I wasn't in the scheduled live on Talk Studio when I started it, and so it didn't connect up. So I think you just have to make sure you enter the studio before
studio.
We did enter the studio.
We'll figure it out off screen.
We'll figure it out.
Right. Anyway, kind of humorous. But yeah, we got some hot takes coming up. Gonna be dropping the Big Ten Power Rankings video tomorrow evening, so tune in for that one. See where the hierarchy of the Big Ten teams are at through the first 5 weeks of the season.
All right. Thank you guys very much for being on here. Always appreciate having you on the show. Everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe to Buckeye Battlecry, and we will see you guys next week.
Yep.
Have a good night, gentlemen. We'll see you.
See you guys.
All right.
Boom.
There we go. We had a couple of...
Now Penn State Sports Talk shows up.
Yeah, now he's here.
Dude, we were talking about your team like a million years ago.
Yeah, Belt. He's got 77-3.
Dang.
He's going crazy on that one. And Wolverine Gage is saying the same thing. UCLA's going 0-12.
Yeah.
UCLA should have stayed in the Pac-12 and then just not played anymore, I guess.
Yeah. The Pac-12 should have stayed alive. Their commissioner totally screwed them over.
Yeah, they're regretting it now. They're trying to rebuild it.
Yeah.
Wolverine Gage also said that Michigan just needs some wide receivers on the outside. That's why I'm all for Andrew Marsh getting a shot.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about that too, that the receivers just aren't catching it, but that needs to change. What were you going to say?
I think Andrew Marsh, I think I said this to him. Andrew Marsh will get a shot. I mean, I don't necessarily like hearing Sharon Moore say that he's opening up a wide receiver competition almost halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's clear that something needs to change with the wide receivers. So, it is what it is. But I do think that Andrew Marsh will get his chance. I think he's way too talented to leave on the bench, especially because Michigan's wide receiver room needs some help right now.
Right.
The only problem is that it would have been nice to have gotten him some reps and then redshirted him so that we could have him an extra year. But I think we might need him a year early. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the poll ended up with 24 votes. Michigan hanging in there, Michigan style not included, as the Big Ten team that will most likely cover the spread or uncover your emotional baggage. And uncover your emotional baggage.
Penn State heartbreak is tradition.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate all of you. We are at 2,272 subscribers now, so we appreciate all of that. All of you guys engaging with us makes this a lot of fun. 73?
73. We gained one more.
So 73 to go along with the 3 children that Mac is going to have all at once.
Help. Please.
I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, yeah, my son's expecting his first children. because there's 3 of them. Anyway, thank you everybody out there. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this episode. It really helps us with the algorithm, and it's free, so there's no problems there.
It only costs your brain cells.
It's a good deal. And that will do it for us tonight. We have a video coming out tomorrow, and then we've got football this weekend. Wisconsin at number 20 Michigan. Make sure to see that game. Mac, take us out.
This is the Cry for Help show because I'm having triplets. So help.
Help.